I'd like to start by asking you why you originally became an air traffic controller. Where did it all start, Jet?
Well, Alan, it's kind of a long road, buddy. I joined the Air Force back in 1983. As I mentioned earlier, I started out as a clerk typist. Not a very manly job when you're in your early 20s anyways. But as luck would have it, Uncle Sam shipped me off to a little island, a little remote island out in the Pacific called Johnston Atoll, or Johnston Island, as a lot of us called it. At any rate, Johnston was located about 800 miles southwest of Honolulu, Hawaii. Beautiful location, tropical, beautiful water. Loved it, had a great time. Well, I was one of 7 Air Force there, contingent of 7 Air Force personnel. The rest were civilian, and we had a lot of Army folks there. The mission, kind of interesting side note here, the mission of Johnston Island was to store chemical weapons. So all of the chemical bombs and artillery shells and whatnot that was around the, stationed over in, wherever. I probably shouldn't be saying this. Some of this might still be classified, so I'll stop right there. But throughout the world, at any rate, was sent to Johnston Island back in the late this must have been about 1988 when I was there. They started shipping it in so that they could incinerate it as part of some treaties, government treaties. So they needed somebody to control the airfield. It was an uncontrolled airfield, basically just a strip, a runway right down the center of the island. And we did not have any air traffic controllers assigned there, but we did have what we call an airfield manager. His responsibility was to take care of the runway, make sure it was swept, make sure the painting was good and the lights worked and all of the things that go with maintaining a runway. The air traffic control aspect of it, though, was what we call an uncontrolled airfield. So the pilots would fly in. Some of your students may be familiar with this. At Johnston Island, the pilots would fly in. They would report their positions. We had a weather person, what we call a unicom. It was just a radio operator, basically, that worked with a weather observer. And this radio person would pass along the information to the pilot, basically give them the runway, the winds, the altimeters, anything pertinent to the airfield. But there was no separation and sequencing, so there was no air traffic control aspect to this. Well, as luck would have it, they needed somebody to do this. They assigned the duty to me, and that was my first experience in working a radio, working with pilots, talking to pilots, issuing the weather, and doing those things that an air traffic controller would do, with the exception of the separation. So that was my first experience, and it kind of got me interested into air traffic control. So when I went back to the States, I had the opportunity to get out of my being a clerk typist into another career field. So the opportunity presented itself, and I took it. I became an air traffic controller. Went to school. It's about a 5-month school where we learned aviation procedures, how to read charts, maps, rules, all the separation and sequencing procedures. We worked in a mock tower 3 or 4 weeks, and then we would go to the radar portion of the syllabus and learn to work radar. After that, I was transferred to Scott Air Force Base in Illinois, and I'll have to tell you, that was for any of your students who have any desire to get into air traffic control. It is a wonderful profession, but it is not for the faint of heart. It's very stressful, and I'd have to say that what it takes to be an air traffic controller, you don't have to be the smartest in the class. Lord knows I never was. In fact, when I joined the military, there was a test you had to take, and it was basically a 1 to 100 on a scale. And I hit 50s, and that was all that was required for air traffic control. And what I've seen over the years, my experience has been in air traffic control, is that people who can spread their focus out make better air traffic controllers. And I think they make better pilots, too, because as you well know, a lot of you may know from sitting in a cockpit or on the flight deck, you need to be able to spread that attention. You need to be able to spread that focus around. You're looking at your gauges, looking out your window, looking at your chart, watching for traffic, talking to air traffic control on the radio. So you have to be able to spread that focus around. And what I have found, what has been my experience with air traffic controllers, people who were more focused, more like engineers or computer operators, mathematicians, people like that. There were no dummies by any stretch, but they were so focused that they couldn't see what was going on around them. And you need that in an air traffic control environment, especially, for example, in a control tower where you're looking out your windows, you're watching your traffic, you're making mental judgments about, will this Cessna 152 doing 90 knots on the downwind, will he get inside of a Boeing 757 on a 10-mile final doing 150 knots? You have to be able to look at that. And, oh, by the way, you have other issues. Maybe you want to clear somebody for takeoff now. Maybe you've got a guy who wants to come in and do a practice approach opposite direction, circle to the landing runway. You have all of these issues swirling around that you have to spread your attention around and give it due thought. If you can't do that, then not that you're not smart by any stretch. You have to be able to multitask quickly. And I found that people that can do that make the best air traffic controllers. So it's a good profession. I had a lot of fun when I was a line controller. I met a lot of people my own age, something that I had not, believe it or not, earlier in my Air Force career. You have to want to do it. And again, it's a stressful job. I would say it's similar to any time I have to give a presentation, stand up in front of an audience. There's always those butterflies going a few hours before. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's the same in air traffic control when you're about ready to plug in and things are really, really busy. And you're trying to get it all, get the picture, as we call it, get the mental grasp of everything going on around you, and your stomach starts swirling in the stressors, and then for that, however many 2 or 3 hours that you're in position, it's just like a constant math test, constantly having to think things out and come up with plans, alternative solutions to sequencing problems that you might have to deal with. So I really enjoy air traffic control. It's been great to me. Highly encourage it for anybody who wants to get into that line of work. Just know that you will have a lot of stress, and you'll have a math test just about every day, and you will endure lots of stress. So if that's something that interests you, by all means, go for it.
In part 3 of the interview with Jett Green, you will hear him talking about a funny experience he had as a young air traffic controller. He also talks in detail about a hazardous experience when 2 jets came within feet of colliding and how loss of situational awareness and human factors were involved.